Hello and welcome to the second episode of the Panel by Panel podcast. If you've just clicked on this podcast and you're not sure what the idea of it is, here is the very brief description. Every episode we will take a important story from comics or just something I think will be fun to do, and I will do my best to explain it to my friend Aaron, who is a comic book newcomer. So if you're new to comics, brilliant, this is the best place to start. If you're not, then you'll get someone's first initial reaction to a legendary story from comics, and that should be fun too, because we don't take it too serious. You can check out the first episode right now. It is up on all the same platforms as this one, YouTube and Spotify for the time being, but we are looking at other platforms, so if there is somewhere you want to see the podcast go up, just to make your life a little bit easier to get to this podcast, then let us know, and we will try and make that happen. If you do use YouTube and Spotify for this, please like and subscribe on YouTube and follow and rate us on Spotify. All of that stuff really helps. Same with social media. Go follow us at Parallel Panels. That is TikTok, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram. We post clips up of the podcast, all that good stuff. But yeah, all of it really helps, so we appreciate that massively. As you've already seen by clicking on this episode of the podcast today, we are doing Old Man Logan. So without further ado, enjoy. Use Quora.
That's the weird answer thing, right?
Yeah. So at some point I signed up. I don't know why I get emails from Quora, but I do.
That's another question we need to get onto later.
I don't know how I did it, so I can't answer. But I haven't unsubscribed from their emails, because their emails will just be like, in the title, it'll just be like a question that's popular at the moment on Quora, and they're always funny. So I've not unsubscribed from it, because it's always like, I'll go through my inbox and it's just like, like serious stuff. And then there'll be a Quora one, and they're like always funny. Usually they're like, like parents just being worried about their kids and stuff like that, or like a science question that someone wants to know the answer to. But usually it's like, my child is drinking a lot. Is this a concern? It's just stupid stuff like that. But the one I got the other day, I was on my break at work and it had been a really stressful day. And this is why I'm never going to unsubscribe from it. I'm on my 10-minute break, look at my phone, Quora email at the top, is Ezra Miller normal? And that's the whole email.
How many answers were on that? How many comments were on that? Because, oh lord.
How many of them were just no? I just don't understand why you would go on the internet and be like, I'm going to ask people this question.
Maybe there's some people that are thinking, you know what, Ezra Miller, he seems alright. Or starting fights, abducting people, is he that wrong?
Maybe they're just like, hey, who knows what happens in Hawaii,
Yeah, some people might agree. They might go, is that just a normal thing to do over there? I don't know, personally, so...
I guess.
It wasn't me that put the message up, by the way. I have to make sure that...
This happened like 2 weeks ago, but I knew that I was going to start the other episode with the Anastasia story, because that was more relevant. The Ezra Miller thing is going to go on for a long time, so...
I never told you, did I, last week? Well, last time. I've never watched Anastasia.
Oh, is it a Disney movie?
I think so, yeah. I've never watched it.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever sat... I think I watched it as a kid, and I just found it weird.
Because I get that confused with the Mickey Mouse and the Wizard at Fantasia.
Fantasia, yeah.
I've never watched any of them. But
Fantasia's cool. But...
Is it just Mickey Mouse in that? How does it go?
No, there's like a demon.
Okay, alright. I
think he's called Chernabog.
Oh, the Chernabog.
Yeah, like that one. I think he's called Chernabog.
Is that why Kingdom Hearts is like a thing?
I think so. It's all like, it's all to do with that. It's like it gets like pretty dark and stuff. It's weird. But again, I watched it when I was a kid and I just remember like weird images from it. Like Anastasia, I can only remember the weird Rasputin stuff. And that's it. Because it's just strange. I don't know what's going on. But yeah. So we did the first episode on Killing Joke. What did you think of Killing Joke? Now that it's been like a week.
So now it's been a week or two. I've read a couple of bits of the book, and genuinely, I completely understand. After having the talk last week, seeing some of the artwork for it was mad. now reading it, yeah, I can understand why we started with that, and hopefully, as you mentioned, you started with the best. We're probably going to go downhill, but I hope it don't go downhill too fast.
No, it won't go downhill like anytime soon. We've still got like a ton of really good stuff to get to. I just don't know if there's another Joker story that's like anywhere near that. No. But then it's also like really simple, so a lot of Joker stories get like overly complicated and it gets stupid. Oh god. Yeah, I feel like so Killing Joke is like as straight down the line a comic story as it can get, really. It's pretty simple. That's why we did it for the first one, because it doesn't take a lot of explaining. The one that we're doing today doesn't take a lot of explaining either, because it's like we're doing a Marvel one, because I'm alternating DC and Marvel, and it's like a Marvel what if. Like it's unrelated to everything else. It's like, what if this happened?
So you gave everyone the hint. Young woman Jake.
Yeah.
And I'm still fuming. Old man what?
I don't think I had anyone figure it out.
No,
which
it's
makes
probably
me
a
think it was
bad
a terrible
hint. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to think.
So you got the old man part, right? You just couldn't figure out the Jake part.
Yeah, what's the opposite of Jake?
I feel like you're gonna be fuming.
Logan. Jake. Oh, like the Paul brothers. I am so annoyed. That's so dumb. Oh, man. Oh, we're doing Wolverine, though. Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, I knew you'd be annoyed when I finally told you.
That's ridiculous.
I'll put that there so that you can flick through it whenever. So, Old Man Logan is, I mean, you will probably kind of know some of it because it's like the basis for Logan, the movie, but it's obviously like really different because it's like a what if, so it gets crazy. Like if The Killing Joke was a straightforward story, this is like mental.
Yeah, I'm looking at the artwork right on the front page, and it looks like there's zombies and a samurai dude.
Okay, the zombies, they are the Hulk family.
Oh,
we'll get to that. They're all Hulks. So there's like an edgy Hulk.
Yeah.
There's a redneck Hulk. The redneck Hulk wears a hat that says green neck on it.
Okay.
Yeah. The samurai guy is Hawkeye.
Oh, is that where... does that go into where he is in... Is it Infinity War Part 2?
Oh, where he's Ronin. He's not Ronin in this. He's just old.
Oh, okay.
And blind.
Blind.
He's blind.
So he's like Daredevil. Does he still shoot a bow? Because it looks like he's holding one. Okay, that's just another...
So it's written by Mark... I always thought it was Mark Miller until I read the cover the other day and I was like, I guess it's Millar, which sounds really wrong to say.
I imagine it's still Miller, right?
I guess. I don't know.
Can't imagine people call him Millar.
You'd be surprised. I think Americans call him Mark Millar. It sounds wrong, doesn't it? But anyway, I own quite a lot of his books. He's one of the main writers from like recent eras, because this came out in 2008, so fairly recent, I guess. We're going to do a bunch of Miller, probably. He's like right up there with the most important writers for Marvel. Yeah, that back cover is quite something. So he wrote a story for Marvel called The Ultimates in the 2000s, which was Time Magazine's comic book of the decade. And he wrote two of the best-selling Marvel comics of all time, being this and Civil War.
Oh, he wrote Civil War.
And the artist is the guy who also, was it Steve McNiven? Steve McNiven is also the guy who drew Civil War. So it's them two together, which I think Civil War came a couple years before this, and they had been doing a Wolverine run, and then they eventually did this. He also did a DC story that we're going to be doing super, soon. He also wrote, you know how when we were talking about Alan Moore and I was like, you will know his work from this movie, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Mark Miller, in a similar way, away from his superhero stuff, he did Wanted, which...
That's why I know his name. Yeah.
He did Kick-Ass and Kingsman. So...
Right.
He covers a lot of ground. So Old Man Logan is like a road trip movie that's like a western. It gets really dumb and over the top, but that's why I like it. Like, it's really stupid. What do you you like the X-Men movies. We talk about X-Men movies quite a bit, I feel like.
I think with X-Men, everyone agrees. Where X-Men 1, that's good. My favourite is X-Men 2. I love X-Men 2. It takes itself not very seriously at that point.
Yeah.
Takes the piss a bit.
Yeah.
And it goes from there. However, I know your favourite's Last Stand, right?
To be fair, I reckon I've watched Last Stand the most out of any of them.
Come on, man.
I'm pretty sure we watched it on mine once. It wouldn't surprise me.
No, not at all.
But you know how I said that it relates to the movie Logan, and they kind of build it as that it was going to be based off of Old Man Logan.
Yeah.
It's not really. It's just he is old and he like doesn't want to fight anymore.
He's grumpy now.
So like, but it's so over the top, this book, that it's taken to like Clint Eastwood movie levels, where he's on a farm with his family. He won't, like, they make a big deal out of that he won't ever get the claws out anymore.
Oh, it's like the last Rambo film.
Yeah, it's literally like that classic kind of thing.
Leave me alone, and then, one more job.
So, the reason he's like this, you eventually find out exactly why. But there was a superhero holocaust. That's like the background for this book.
Okay.
So basically, and the reason it happens is hilarious.
Just drop in the H word, just like it's nothing. Alright.
Basically, the way it happens is all the villains get together and go, we can't beat them on our own, but what if we all join together and kill all of the heroes? And they do.
Well, yeah.
And that's like the what if kind of like setting, and then it's like, okay, well, let's go see what Wolverine's doing if that happens. Because obviously, like, Wolverine's so hard to kill that he survives.
That's genuinely interesting kind of thing.
Yeah, he's got a wife and 2 kids, and they run a farm which is failing and stuff like that. It like really like beats you over the head with like he doesn't want anything to do with anybody anymore. The villains who survived the like fight with the heroes have divided the US up into territories between them, like the leaders of the like villain army.
How many territories are left?
I think they split it into like 4 or 5 territories.
Bloody hell, only 4 or 5.
Yeah,
survived.
they're like big areas.
Okay.
But a lot of America is like Mad Max now. Like it's like crazy. And so it's the different like parts that are set up are run by like big villains, right? So like for example, Kingpin is in this book quite a bit. He owns a big part of America. Because it's like, okay, I'll join together with you, but I get part of this, and you get that bit. They divide it up.
He survived the big hero war.
Yeah.
Okay.
Kingpin in comics is like super powerful, even though you never like see him do anything. I don't know. My next note is that Hawkeye is just old as fuck now, which time.
Yeah, I mean, if Logan's old, Hawkeye's old, you know.
They're
both in their like 40s in the films and stuff, anyway. So
yeah. So it starts with Logan is just trying to get this farm going. He lives in Hulk territory. That's the part of America he lives in. Hulk has become a bad guy now. He eventually says something later. It's kind of like a throwaway line about the radiation poisoning getting to him or something. I don't know. Whatever. He's gone crazy.
Okay.
And he's got his like inbred Hulk family, and they are inbred.
Inbred Hulk.
He has children with She-Hulk, who is his cousin, because he sees She-Hulk as like the only woman that is like capable of dealing with Hulk, because he doesn't like. He's really old as well, so he's mostly just Banner now. But, like, there was a period where he was only Hulk and, that kind of thing. So Logan's farm's failing, and he has to pay the Hulk family. And then Hawkeye shows up, and he's like, you want to go on this road trip with me? I need to get this package from here to the other side of America through all the villain territories. And, Logan, like, doesn't want to do it. But eventually, he decides to go with him. I've just got a note here about Hulk becoming super redneck, which, I mean, you can see.
Yeah, from his nice trucker hat. I think there's one in here where it says gone, but not the number 4 gotten.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool.
Yeah. They're horrible to Logan. Like, they're just nasty. They beat him up because he doesn't pay the rent. And they're like, it's going to be double next month because you didn't pay it. He sort of has like a vision of carving them all open, but then he kind of returns and he's like, no, I'm not doing that anymore. And so that's why he agrees to go with Hawkeye, because Hawkeye's like, I'll give you some of the money once I do this delivery. That's the map of it all being divided, so that kind of breaks it up. again, just to add to like the Mad Max apocalypse stuff, there's mole people underground that are evil, and
All right.
Do you know the Mole Man? He's like a Fantastic Four villain. He lives underground.
When you say Mole Man, you know what it reminds me of? It sounds really dumb, and I think you can guess. You know, in the Incredibles, the end of the Incredibles.
Yeah, the Underminer.
The Underminer. That's what it reminds me of.
He basically is the Underminer. Yeah, pretty much.
Yo, he comes up with like a thing.
Like every now and then. But he's not around anymore, so the mole people underground have gone crazy and they're just killing people. My next note is just Hawkeye is now blind because he's old. I think that's the only explanation they give you. There's no reason why he's blind. And he knows that Logan is still alive, so he goes and finds him, and that's how that all starts. Hawkeye is like really bitter because he didn't die, and now he has to live in this world kind of thing. And he's like, I don't want to be here. That's like the creepy mole people, by the way. They just show up every now and then. I don't know why. But yeah, he convinces Logan to come with him. Hawkeye drives, and Logan like directs him because he can't see. I don't know. I feel like there's an easier way to do that, but they go on their road trip. Then you get to that page. There is a biker gang who are all dressed like Ghost Riders. They just have the Ghost Rider bikes. I don't think they are actually like the Ghost Riders. But they beat up Logan, and they keep trying to make him fight back, but he won't. And because of them talking, Hawkeye can shoot them all because they get cocky and start like taunting Logan, and then he's like, "Cool, now I can kill you because I'm blind."
So basically, Hawkeye, going back to how you said, Hawkeye wants to basically take this package across America.
Yeah.
Logan doesn't want to. Then Hulk turns up, and basically now he's like, "I need to unless."
Yeah, he's like,
Right.
"I've got to do it," sort of thing.
So, is this still in Hulkland, as I'll call it?
They're like on their way out, I think, when they get jumped.
And they're just basically find it. It's more like just the way looking at this at the moment.
Yeah.
It looks more like a entirety of this is what America would be like if this happened.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. As you said at the start, what if?
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Right. Okay.
From here, it gets like weirder, right? So they bump into one of Hawkeye's ex-wives, who is also the daughter of Peter Parker.
Okay. All right.
I don't know. She's now dating Ultron 8. He's just one of the Ultron robots. And Ultron 8, you can see him there. He's like my favourite character in the book. He's like a stay-at-home dad who's like really well-mannered and wears like a button-up shirt. And she's like, Ultron 8 is the only father she ever knew, because they're talking about their daughter that they have together. So she tells Hawkeye that her daughter, because being a descendant of Peter Parker, also has spider powers. And she's been arrested fighting in a superhuman resistance against the Kingpin, and she's now going to die. So they need to go save her. So they go to like Kingpin's area, and it's like there's a lot of this book which is like taken up by this part, to be honest. Well, not like a ton because it's quite a short book, but they save her and they kill Kingpin. Well, she kills Kingpin, and we're going to get to that as well. They we'll jump to that now. Kingpin has like dinosaurs and stuff, and he has like a coliseum, and he gets the Velociraptors to eat Daredevil and the Punisher. So they're dead. They get eaten by dinosaurs.
Yeah. See, this is there's a what if, and then there's Velociraptors eating Daredevil and Punisher, which I don't think I would have ever seen in my life. What I do is Kingpin black in this?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's one of those things where when a movie comes out, they always try and make the comics more like the movie to not confuse people. I'm just guessing, because obviously Wilson Fisk originally was white. I don't know whether it's because of the movie.
The Michael Clark Duncan one.
I don't know whether that's why. I'm not too sure, but like obviously like Nick Fury in comics is usually black now. Just because like people otherwise would be like, but Samuel L. Jackson is Nick Fury. I don't understand.
Yeah, probably now because Samuel L. Jackson did such a good job with that.
Yeah,
kind of thing.
So they save Hawkeye's daughter, and they're like, "We came to save you," and she instantly kills Kingpin, and she's like, "No, I didn't come here to save everyone. I'm here to take over Kingpin's land." Like she just like brutally murders him.
So she wants to basically become bad in a way.
Yeah, nothing really comes of it, to be honest. They just get away. Like, yeah, I don't know. So they carry on. through their journey. They go past loads of like cool monuments and stuff that are just like, again, little like what if moments. Like there's a huge skeleton and it's Loki and stuff like that. I don't remember why he's huge, to be honest. I can't remember. But yeah, they just like escape and they carry on. Then like the biggest part of the book happens, which Logan finally explains why he is now like a pacifist and he won't pull out the claws and all that good stuff. So when the supervillains join together, he was at the mutant mansion. The pages for this are like incredible. Oh, there's just like chase stuff, and then we get to it.
Yeah, sorry, I was just going through the Moormen bit, and then that, as you say, the big Loki skeleton.
Yeah,
which is very weird. And there's dinosaurs about now.
Yeah, there's a part coming up
in Wyoming, which I've never been to Wyoming personally, but
I don't know why there's dinosaurs there. I'm not sure.
And it's also, just to mention this again to people who probably want it mentioned, is Venom in this? Or is that just another symbiote?
Like,
or is
I think it is actually. I don't know.
He's got the Venom eyes, he's got the Venom teeth.
Yeah, I would assume so.
It just doesn't look like he's got a person.
No, he's just the symbiote. That's coming up. Oh, that page, that double page of Mount Rushmore, but it's got the Red Skull.
That's amazing. Right, so they're now in Iowa, as you mentioned. They're getting a little bit high.
Yeah, so this is when he tells you about why he's now a pacifist and lives on a farm. So he was at the X-Men mansion when all of the villains joined together. And they all attack. Like, all these villains attack the X-Men mansion. And he can't find anyone, and he's freaking out. And he goes into, like, an absolute rage. And he starts, like, brutally murdering all of the villains. Like, the pages are pretty crazy. As he's kind of, like, looking for the other X-Men and stuff. Yeah, the art is... like, it gets pretty mental.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, he's not holding back.
So, like, some of them are running away and stuff, which is weird. And then he stabs Bullseye. And when he does, Bullseye is like, "What are you doing, Wolverine? Like, what are you doing to all of us? Like, we're your... I think he says, we're your friends, or, like, we're supposed to be your friends or something. And then he blinks, and it's all of the X-Men. And he's murdered all of them. And this is where the book is like, I love it, but it's dumb. Oh. As you can see on that page, it was Mysterio that tricked him. You know, Mysterio, who does like nothing apart from like illusions. He like tricked Wolverine into thinking that all of the X-Men were villains that were attacking.
Holy shit! Wow, that's a double page and a half.
Yeah.
And that's obviously, at that point, you can't blame the guy for trying to put his claws down.
No. So, there you go. That's basically how they decide they're going to take care of the X-Men, is by having Wolverine kill them all.
I mean, it's probably the best plan.
Yeah. I mean, it makes me laugh that it was Mysterio. like, Mysterio is, like, renowned for doing nothing.
Hey, look, the one time he does
he's
something,
cool, though.
You know, he's got a big... like a fishing what do you call it?
Like a dome, or like just a fish bowl.
Fish tank, fish bowl.
Yeah.
He's basically got a fish bowl. However, I love Mysterio personally. So
yeah, me
I'm
too.
Glad he finally does something.
I know, it's cool. Yeah. So then we get away from that like little flashback bit, and you see the Venom symbiote again. And it attaches itself to a T-Rex.
Okay.
So you get like a Venom T-Rex. There you go.
Oh, wow. Yeah. That is sick.
It's pretty cool. Again, there's a bunch of stuff in this book that is just like, this is a cool there's like, it makes no sense, but wouldn't it be cool if you drew this? And we put it in a book? So they get chased by this T-Rex, and they get saved by Emma Frost. You know Emma Frost? She's in some of the X-Men movies.
I don't know who Emma Frost is.
She's, like, really powerful in comics. In the movies, she's kind of whatever, but she's a really powerful, like, psychic. And they run into her and Black Bolt. You know who Black Bolt is? I'm going to have to spoil something in Doctor Strange 2, but it's been out a while. He's one of the Illuminati. He has, like, a big, like... thing on his head.
He was the one that doesn't talk.
Yes.
Right. Okay,
yeah, because his power. He's the king of the Inhumans. His voice is insanely powerful, so even a whisper causes like crazy destruction.
So does he have to write things on paper?
He has like someone speak for him usually, like a little associate guy.
That can read his mind, or
no, he just I don't know.
That's the thing that I've always thought.
Emma Frost, they're a couple, and Emma Frost can read people's minds, so I don't know whether she just says what he's thinking.
Yeah, I mean that's fine.
Yeah, I guess that works. Also, his name is Blackagar Boltagon.
Oh, that is. There's a couple of names like Blake Steele and stuff, but Blackagar Bolton. That is so cool.
Yeah, so he whispers stop, and like the T-Rex like explodes, and like the symbiote comes apart, and obviously it needs a host to survive, so it dies. And obviously Sonic's hurt Venom, like in Spider-Man 3 when he bangs the poles together.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So
sorry, I thought you meant Sonic hurt Venom, and I was like, wait, is this really a what if? Like Sonic is in this now?
No, I just meant noise in general.
What a great crossover that would be, eh?
That would be pretty crazy.
No, you meant right, okay.
So they have this thing with Emma Frost, whatever, it is kind of irrelevant. They finally get to New Babylon, which is basically Washington now, which is where Hawkeye needs to get this whole time. Logan thinks he's carrying drugs. Apparently there's a side story about how Hawkeye used to carry drugs, used to like drug smuggle. I don't know. But I think he did that for a bit. So this is when you finally find out what Hawkeye is actually transporting. So they get to the superhuman resistance, and Logan's like, I don't want to get involved in this. Ooh. And he wants revenge. And kind of to like recapture like the glory days, he's like, I'm one of the only living Avengers, so I've got to try and like prove that I survived, and for good reason. So like I need to help. And he's carrying vials of the super soldier serum, which they're going to use to build an army and try and like take America back, basically, like a really big over the top plan.
A bunch of Captain Americas kind of thing.
Yeah. They want to take down the president. The president is Red Skull.
Okay.
He like takes like Washington and that whole area.
But why would you let... So, sorry to go around this. You're one of the villains that have survived. Why would you let Red Skull... Is he powerful in the comics compared to the movies again?
Yeah. Red Skull, when villains team up, like they have... Is it the Legion of Doom, I think they're called? Like when villains, like some of the main villains kind of team up and they have like a super team kind of thing to like counter the Avengers. Red Skull is usually the leader. Him or Doctor Doom are usually like... I feel like him, Doctor Doom, Magneto are kind of like the main Marvel villains in comics. Like Red Skull is really important. It's just in movies he's like kind of irrelevant.
Yeah, I always knew Doctor Doom was always seen as big.
Yeah.
They didn't put it over in Fantastic Four apart from and as dumb as it is, we did watch it. The most recent Fantastic Four isn't that bad.
It
sucks, but it shows you more than the others have.
Yeah,
I'd argue. It's not got the singing jeans. That's what I like to see.
Does that have him in a trench coat at any point like it does in the other one?
No, he's not crying next to a lamppost with a flat cap thinking no one's going to notice a big rock. Like,
oh man. Oh, wow. What a
so they
movie.
Want to assassinate Red Skull.
They want to build this super army and take... They're going to start there with Red Skull and then, try and take back the other areas eventually. It turns out to be a trap, like, obviously. And they shoot Wolverine a bunch. And they take them all in. And they take them to Red Skull, who is like, oh, who have you got for me? Like, no way, you caught some guys. And they're like, oh, we finally got Hawkeye. Oh, and Logan. And he's like, bro, why have you brought him here? Like, you can't kill this guy. Like, you've ruined everything. This part is about Red Skull's trophy room. He has, like, a collection of superhero stuff that he's taken, including Captain America's costume, because he killed Captain America by gouging his eyes out.
I see he's also got Doctor Strange cape.
He's got an Iron Man suit. He's
half
got, like...
a Vision's head. The thing's hand? It looks like a left hand?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, and he even wears the suit.
He wears it around because he's like a creepy weirdo,
Okay. Alright, I like this Red Skull.
Yeah, he's actually like cool in comics. It's just in movies where he doesn't have anything to do.
So yeah. Looking at this, Logan's been brought. Okay, he's gone. gone a little bit ham again because obviously, as you said, he's unkillable basically.
Yeah. So Red Skull's like fuming. He's like, "Why have you, what have you done? Like you've ruined this by bringing him here." And they fight, as you can expect, and the fight ends with Wolverine decapitating Red Skull with Captain America's shield.
Oh.
Again, pretty graphic. I mean, when we get round to doing some other Mark Miller stuff, he does tend to write like really graphic stuff. Like Kick-Ass is a really like graphic book.
I mean, even as a film, everyone was quite surprised how.
And there's quite a lot of stuff in the book which is like crazier than the movies. So obviously, they try and come like Red Skull's like little like private army all come to try and stop Wolverine, and he puts on the Iron Man suit that's in the thing. Again, it's just another reason to do like a cool thing and be like, what if Wolverine was in the Iron Man suit? And he just uses it to get away, sort of thing, and get as close to like his farm as possible. So he's making his way back, and obviously he's like, how have I ended up doing this sort of thing? Like just the long travel back. And when he eventually gets back to his farm, again, this is just like the story like ramping up and up in terms of like crazy stuff happening out of nowhere. He gets back and he finds out that the Hulks got bored of waiting for him and his rent, so they killed his family.
Okay, alright, yeah. That was guaranteed to happen looking at how this is going.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So he's talking to this old man. He does the thing about how he's like, it's not Logan, bub, it's Wolverine. And then you get the thing where he finally pulls the claws out, because this is like he's had enough. And then he just goes and like brutally murders all the like Hills Have Eyes looking Hulk kids.
Oh yeah, now we're actually seeing the Hulk gang. It's
they're gross, yeah.
Yeah. Oh wow. Oh wait, right. So there's how many of them are there? Do you know?
I have no idea. There's a bunch, but I have no idea how many there are. I don't know if they ever tell you, but there's quite a lot of them.
Are they cannibals as well? It looks like.
Yeah.
Oh, they've just So the Hulk went from being really angry to just to being the whole Hulk. Cannibals, hillbillies. One's got a Fonz hairdo.
Yeah, he's like the cool. He's like the cool one. Yeah.
And yeah, as you say, he just goes ham. So does he eventually get to the Hulk himself? I guess so, right?
So he eventually gets there. And Banner is now like a shriveled old man because of all the radiation and stuff like that. Like when you see him, you're like, he looks like he's dying, kind of thing. I think it's basically that he's not angry anymore, and so he can't be the Hulk, I think, is kind of part of it. But also just like the radiation is like wearing the human part down.
The Samir,
yeah. Yeah, he's just an old dude.
But he still has a strength.
Yeah, he's like, I don't know when that's a thing, but yeah.
He's lifted a cow and smacked it onto Wolverine.
Yeah,
okay.
I don't ever remember when that's a thing where Banner is like really strong as himself. I don't know.
It is a what if at the end of the day.
Yeah. So he kind of says about how the radiation might have made him crazy, and he talks about making Hulk babies with She-Hulk. It's weird.
You're telling me.
And he then says to Wolverine about how he's glad that he killed Wolverine's family because now he finally has like a one final fight. I think the words he uses are what does he actually say? Finally something good to smash. It's been years, just like old times. So he's kind of like, he wanted the old Wolverine back, and that's why he did it, because he just wants to fight him one more time, kind of thing, because he's had like nobody to fight in ages, so he's not like fulfilling like the Hulk side of it. So they have this fight, and Logan stabs him, and as soon as he does that, obviously he turns into Hulk, because then he gets angry, and he like bites Wolverine in half.
No, this rendition of Hulk is horrible.
Yeah.
I have to.
Yeah, he's like proper like Hills Have Eyes Hulk.
He just looks absolutely disgusting. Not the one that I've grown to love, I guess. But wow, he just I can see why this is definitely the dark timeline.
Yeah. So he bites him in half and eats him. And then we go to like a few hours later when Banner's just in his cave surrounded by like all of the dead Hulks. And he's complaining that he's got like stomach cramps and stuff like that. And the reason he feels so unwell is because Logan regenerates inside of him and bursts out of him. Which again, is just like a cool image. So it's just like, hey, why not? We might as well put that in because it looks cool.
The line here is amazing. What's the matter, Banner? Something you ate. And he just burst out his stomach. That's so cool.
So there's like a Hulk baby, like the newest born of the Hulk family. Logan like takes him and leaves. I don't know. I don't actually know. I've never read any of the follow-up stuff to this, so I don't know where this goes, or even if there is anywhere it goes. I'm not sure. But he takes the Hulk baby, gets like his cowboy stuff back, and his horse, and stuff like that. And it basically ends with him saying, I've been quiet for too long. Like, I need to help, basically. Which is, I don't know. I feel like that's a weird conclusion, I guess. But I suppose his family are dead, so he doesn't really have anything else. So he's just like, I can't like sit and be lonely. I might as well go help.
I guess the big thing with this is he's still not a monster that he believed he was, right?
Yeah.
Because obviously he thinks he was a monster because he killed all the X-Men.
Yeah.
However, even though he's killed all the Banners, just a newborn things aren't naturally evil, right?
Yeah.
So hopefully he's thinking that he could change this and have a reason to start again, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like I said, there's a lot that happens. It just like ramps up and up.
I mean, it's definitely a really cool look onto a what if.
Yeah.
The Marvel what ifs, they're alright. But they don't jump this far.
No.
None of them.
No.
That I know of, anyway. But wow. Okay.
Yeah.
What I want to know is, just going back a little bit, is you mentioned follow-ups.
Mm-hmm.
How many follow-ups of this are there that you know of?
I don't actually know. I've never looked into it. I don't think there's anything else.
Because my only concern with this is it's left quite a few storylines on hold.
Yeah.
So if they wanted to go back to it, obviously if they wanted to, they must have gone back to it by now.
Yeah.
Like with Spider, I guess, girl, at this point.
Yeah.
She killed Kingpin, now what?
Yeah.
And it leaves it there. And then same with Red Skull dying, who takes his place?
Yeah.
Someone must do, because...
I'd be very surprised if there isn't spin-offs, but often what happens, if there's like... I don't know if Old Man Logan really counts as this, but usually sometimes every year, every couple of years, whatever, there'll be like an event comic going on. So it would be like a big thing, usually where like a team comes together, like if there's like a big Avengers story they're doing, it'll be an event comic, right? So it'll be a certain amount of issues by the one team, usually, like 8 issues, whatever. Some of them are really long, whatever. There's always spin-offs. So, like, for example, if there was a Justice League, like, big event comic, like them fighting Doomsday or something like that, there would be that runs, and then in between that being released, there would be spin-offs. So it would be like, you'd have one Justice League story, and then you'd have whoever's writing Green Lantern would do a spin-off Green Lantern thing, and it would be like filling in the gaps kind of thing of like the main story. So it'd be like, okay, well, if you like Green Lantern, here's what he's been doing when he's not like actually in the main comic kind of thing.
Yeah, so the main comic.
So it just like fills in the lines. I never read those because, first of all, they're a different writing team to the main thing, which is weird because it's just very different. But also, it's kind of like bonus tracks on an album or like deleted scenes or something like that. It's like you don't need to read it to know the story. It's just if you want to fill in those little gaps. Like if you want to know, oh, well, Green Lantern wasn't in this issue, so what's he been doing this whole time?
So it's kind of similar to, putting it to a Marvel standpoint again, you have your Avengers, right? But then, obviously, there'll be one Avengers of a moment, and then there'll be another Avengers moment, but between those moments, you'll have stuff like Ant-Man 2, for example.
Sort of, but not in the way that they tell separate stories. It's the same story, but you get solely Ant-Man's perspective in his solo comic. So, like, I don't know why this is the first example I thought of, but you know in Avengers 2, when Thor, like, disappears, he goes back to Asgard because he has, like, weird visions or whatever. It eventually builds into Ragnarok, right? But if that was a comic and you've got Age of Ultron going on, which there is an Age of Ultron comic and it's nothing to do with the movie, but we'll do it at some point.
Is it really nothing like it?
Nah, it's like it uses the name and that's pretty much it. Like, Ultron's like not really that important to it as well. It's weird. If you had that movie and then there would be like a little like half an hour TV show or something that you could watch and it just shows you what Thor's been up to between then and when he comes back, kind of thing. It just like fills in little gaps. Like,
similar to like WandaVision.
Yeah, sort of. But
nothing big
obviously
happens.
That's good because that's a really big story in its own right. Whereas like add-on comics, like spin-offs, are never their own stories. They are the same story, but like you just get that one
little
person's
tidbits of how they're reacting.
And then they might have their own little storyline going on at the same time, you know, as like a big event. If they're like fighting Ultron, they might also be dealing with something else at the same time. So I never read those because they're just not that important. Like I said, it's like deleted scenes or bonus tracks. It's like, if you really love this story and you want to know everything about it, you can go read those. But if you just want the story, just buy the main event. So I'm sure there are probably Old Man Logan spin-offs where it's like, oh, they tend to do... It depends on what Mark Miller wanted to do. Because if he wanted to do it, then it would be really good, probably, because he came up with all the ideas. But usually they'll give it to other writers and they'll just pick and choose what they want to do. And so spin-offs are like a weird one for me. I've never really found them that necessary. And a lot of the comics I read, they're just not very good, the spin-offs, to be honest. Like, you know, it's like, it's a really difficult job. Like, for example, if there was this book, and like, I'm trying to think of a character that you like kind of meet. I feel like this one, it would be kind of interesting.
Like Emma Frost.
Yeah, I guess it would be kind of interesting to see what they're doing, because then you'll put in this world, but like framing it around them instead. That would be kind of interesting, I suppose, to find out what they've been doing the whole time. I mean, the like, I find the Inhumans stuff, like, there's not really a ton of it that's like that good, but I've always thought it was like pretty fun because it's like stupid, to be honest.
See, I know nothing about Inhumans, so
they're like they're humans that were like experimented on, I think, to try and make like a super race kind of thing. I think that's how it was, and then they get their own planet, which Black Bolt is like king of, and stuff like that. Okay. And they're like they're a dying breed basically, because they don't get made anymore, and so they only have they're like, their world is like super small, like actual, in terms of like actual people living there, because it's only for Inhumans. So there's really not that many of them.
Oh,
I think there's like a couple hundred.
It must be a very, very small planet.
Is there a separate planet? Yeah, it's a separate planet. There's a story where it gets blown up and stuff. Yeah, they have their own planet. Yeah, I can't remember what it's called. It's like a weird name. Yeah, they were supposed to do an Inhumans movie. That was like, I think that was part of like Phase 3 or something at Marvel or something, and then they turned it into a TV show, which came out, which no one watched.
Was that the one with
I think
Maisie Williams? Is that the one? No, that was an X-Men.
Yeah, the Inhumans had Ramsay from Game of Thrones.
Oh, I never heard of this. Wow. Okay,
I think he was in it.
It must have been well marketed, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't even know what it was on. I don't even know if you could watch it in the UK. I don't know, because I know it was on an American channel, but yeah.
But yeah, this Marvel looking into worlds like this, I would be very, very interested in, all in all. I'd want to see more of what the hell? Who's survived? Obviously, we see some people, but who else has survived?
Yeah.
And how they go about stuff. Because obviously, Logan is. I know he's obviously a little bit over the top in films. He's the man that gets it. He's basically how Hulk should be. But
Yeah.
it's just how he is in films, where he gets a little bit angry, then claws come out, he goes a little bit crazy, he's all chill out again. Whereas in the comics, I know he's a lot more powerful than he is in the movies.
He's a lot more like. I guess it's just because of the nature of the movies, they tried to like tone it down. But he is genuinely, or like generally more like he is in Logan. Like that's probably the closest Wolverine comic version. Because in Logan, he just murders people.
Yeah, I remember people mentioning like that was probably the closest to Wolverine as they've got so far.
Yeah, which I mean, it makes sense with Old Man Logan because yeah, I mean he kills a lot of people in this book. But also, I suppose the only thing they didn't really keep much, obviously, because this was kind of the foundation for the movie.
You can even see it even near the end where he takes Hulk's baby.
Yeah.
Instead, they've taken that Hulk's baby part and gone, okay, but what if it's just a mutant that he wants to look after?
And also, it's the road trip because he's trying to get her to that sanctuary, right? Which they eventually get to. So again, it's kind of like the road trip part, but instead of him and Hawkeye, it's him and X-23, the like little girl. Which it makes sense. I think that like.
And Stephen Merchant, don't forget
Stephen Merchant and Patrick Stewart, but he's not really in it that much, I guess. But yeah, I love Logan. I think that movie's so good. So I think they do a really good job of telling it in a different way. And obviously, like this book is like insane compared to that. But you can't do a movie and then just like chuck in, oh, here's Kingpin, he's dead.
What I'm worried about with this world, this comic book thing that we are doing, is we're going to see worlds that never explored ever again. And I'm worried that this is going to be one of them. Because this genuinely seems like everyone's thought of it. Oh, Spider-Man fights Mysterio, but why doesn't Mysterio and Green Goblin team up and then Spider-Man's got a bit more trouble on his hands?
Yeah.
Why don't just every single Marvel villain get together? Because there's more villains than heroes. And in this, they do it and they win. Crazy. Who would have thought?
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm worried the more we're going to go down this path, obviously there will be more alternative kind of like storylines like this.
Mm.
I'm very worried about the amount of ones that are going to get ditched, and I hope that there's offsprings of this because I'm going to look into it after.
Yeah,
because I am genuinely interested.
See, I like them being like one-offs. Like it does create an interesting thing where I agree with you. I think it would be interesting to see like who else is actually alive and stuff and how have they dealt with it. But I like them being just like because it means they don't have to care about. Oh, well, what's going to come after? Like, Mark Miller can do crazy stuff, like have him kill, like, Red Skull, and it doesn't matter, because there's nothing following it, so you don't have to worry about, but this doesn't make sense for that, and...
I guess with Killing Joke, you can easily use that as a throwaway.
Yeah.
You go, this is an origin story, there.
Yeah.
There's that. Whereas this, I think because you built a world where it's like, what if, though? It's a little bit more different. But I can see your look into it as well, which is... You don't have to worry. You can go ham in one series and go, if this works, it works. And obviously, yeah, this works.
Yeah.
little bit crazy.
I think out of all of the, like... I always call them what ifs just because that used to be a comic series for Marvel, which this isn't, like, technically. But, it's kind of like alternate, away from continuity... What if this thing happened? And DC, they have Elseworlds, which is the same thing. It's like a parallel universe kind of thing, but so that you can do crazy stuff and it doesn't affect any other comics, because like otherwise it would be impossible to do. So it's just kind of like, what if this happened sort of thing, which we're going to do another one written by Mark Miller pretty soon that I recently read, and it's so good. And I think it's going to change your mind about a character that you don't like.
Is it Cyclops? Because I hate Cyclops.
I don't know what they could do with... What if he...
Wasn't a dick?
Didn't wear big dumb glasses? I don't know.
He's easily the worst. I hate Cyclops. I don't think there's many other people I hate. Superhero-wise, I don't think.
We're going to do...
Are you going to do one of your dog shit clues again?
Oh, you know what? I did actually have a thing that I was going to do for the next one. But it's absolutely terrible, so I think I'm just going to ditch it.
Oh, come on, give us a clue.
I'll tell you it at the start of the next episode so that I can be like, would you have guessed this? Because I can't explain why it doesn't work, but you'll see what I mean. Because you would have been like, that doesn't make any sense.
You're right, yeah. Young woman Jake. Yeah, you know.
That makes sense, man.
You're going to have so many people angry at you at the end of this.
For the
I'm
Paul
glad.
Brothers thing. I honestly wasn't going to do it, and then I thought of that, and I was like, that's perfect. Because I was like, no one's going to get that. But yeah, it works perfectly. We're going to do a Batman book next time.
Ooh.
But like an actual Batman book. I suppose the clue, for people that actually know comics, the clue will be it's a Batman book, but it doesn't have Batman in it. But it's like one of the best Batman books, but he's not technically in it. I think people, if people know Batman comics, they'll know what I mean. But otherwise, it sounds weird. But yeah, we're gonna do that one next. I don't know why the first like proper Batman book we're doing is one where he's not in it, but it's really good. So we're gonna do that.
Not the best thing to portray a Batman book with no Batman.
Well, you know, I'm like kind of telling the truth and kind of not. There you go.